Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Dean Regas. I'm the astronomer at the Cincinnati Observatory, and I'm so happy to be joining you here today. This has been something I've been looking forward to for a long time, to be working with the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, and to read a couple spacey stories for you tonight. I've got a few in mind to cover, and maybe even one of my own that I'm going to throw in there too. Now, I'm a huge fan of the libraries. I mean, this is like one of the best parts about our city. All these great libraries around, and it's just I love reading and I love picking up a good book. And so I've got a few here we're going to look at tonight. And I also am going to be talking a little bit about what you can look for in the night sky too, a little bit later on, because as we're staying at home, it's a great chance to get outside with your friends and family and take a look at the stars up above. So I think what we'll do is we'll just dive on into one of our stories here that I'm going to go with here first. And I had trouble picking some for this. I had so many, and I have like lots of books in my house too. It's like my shelves are overloaded with stuff. And I was trying to think of some old stories and new stories. And so I'm going to start off with this one. This one's one of my favorites, and I'm going to show it here. Let's see. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. This is called Rise the Moon by Eileen Spinelli and pictures by Raul Colon. And this one is one of my favorites because it talks all about the moon and how the moon has effects on us too. Like whenever I see the moon up in the sky, it always makes me a little happy because I like to see the light shining down at night. I like to see the different phases. And we've had some really clear nights here recently to actually be able to see the moon up there in the sky. So I thought we'd read this together. Does that sound good? Well, let me dive on in here. We'll take a look. So this is on the inside. Ooh, I like the inside part of this too. Let me show you all this. This is just the inside with the various moon phases where we have the crescents. And so we start on this side. We have our waxing crescent, and it's getting more lit up, more lit up. Then we have our full moon, and there he is, the moon yawning. That looks pretty good, don't you think? And then we get the waning moon, and waning crescent, and that starts all over again. So let's dive on in here. And because I really like the pictures in here too. So this is Rise the Moon by Eileen Spinelli with pictures by Raul Colon. Rise the moon, and lunar moth, drawn to its lovely shine, flits across the blossoms of the dreamy moonflower vine. Oh, there's the moth by the moonlight. Sorry, this is my first time showing a book on a screen. I hope you all got to see that. While in a rooftop attic, in the quiet hush of night, a moonlit artist takes his brush to paint a bowl of light. And there's the artist, inspired by the moon, painting by the moonlight. A downstairs dancer climbs up to the dappled roof alone to do a graceful moon dance on her neighbor's garden stone. Oh, the dancer, flying through space with the moon shining bright. Oh man, I like this picture. That's really cool. A night shift baker rolls a moon-shaped crust for apple pie as Moony Tomcat yowls atop an alley fence nearby. Well, yeah, if you're a baker, you got to get up early by the light of the moon. And oh, the sleepy sailor on the swaying schooner knows it is the pull of moon by which the ocean comes and goes. Oh, and there's another 2-page picture of the sleepy sailor in his schooner by the light of the moon. Sea turtles launch themselves across a breezy dune toward the surf that's speckled golden by the midnight moon. The silver wolf is called to howl its ancient moonstruck song. Others in the pack join in, a haunting sing-along. Oh, if you're watching this, give a howl. Let's give a howl out there. Anybody want to howl? Ow! Oh, we got another 2-page picture of all the wolves howling at the moon. That's what I do at the observatory whenever I see a full moon. Ow! Everybody howl out there. Ow! The cozy camper reads by moonlight, and a tired hiker sees a welcome path of moonbeams through the darkened trees. Oh, this picture, this one's for me. Astronomers star party on the soaring mountain slopes to watch the distant moon face through skyward telescopes. All right, that's not exactly what we look like when we look through telescopes, but I guess that's how we feel when we look through telescopes. Moon-wakened mouse goes gathering, so busy and so brave, while bat awakens upside down and flutters from her cave. See the mouse. Oh, the bat's up there. Let me move it. Right there. Some farmers follow faithfully this old advice indeed, that moonrise is the wisest time for planting pumpkin seeds. Young mother swings by moonglow beneath the leafy boughs, while baby dreams of mother goose and moons and jumping cows. You know that one about the cow that jumped over the moon, right? So, rise the moon, so round and bright, let its tender magic fall. Within its spell of splendor, we are moon-hearted creatures all. Here we can see all the creature, all the people we met. I was going to say creatures, but those are humans mostly. All right. And that brings us to the end of our book where we see our moon phases again. And so, what'd you think? That was one of my favorite short story books, Rise the Moon. And you can check that out and maybe get that for yourself and read it. And I just think those pictures are so great with the moon up there and everything. So, well, with that, what I thought we'd do next is take you on a little trip to show you what's up in the actual sky up above. And so I'm going to switch to our full screen mode here so we can take a look at this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this so we can actually look at the stars that are out there at night. And so let me do this here. And so this is a program that I use that can show us what's up in the sky. I can make it any day I want, from any time I want, and anywhere on Earth I want. So this is outside right now if it was sunny. And I know it's a little cloudy here in Cincinnati right now, but maybe it'll clear up for us tonight. But this is what the sky looks like at night right now, or outside right now. So what I'm going to do, can't see it. Hold on. All right, let's try that again. So, can you see this? How does that look? Now we've got our program set up where we can see everything set up. this is our sky outside right now at night. This is our sky right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it nighttime, because then we should be able to see some stuff. So let's see, I'm going to make it nighttime here. And I'm going to go over here to the western sky. That's where the W is. And there's our sun up in the sky. And we're going to make the sun go down and set. And so as the time goes on, the sun's going to get lower and lower in the sky. And eventually, it'll get so low in the sky that darkness starts to fall and the brighter stars start popping out. So here's the stars, what they would look like tonight, way after sunset. And so as we look around the sky, what we're going to do is we're going to try to look for any patterns, any shapes that you might recognize, and also look for some really bright stars. And I see one right there that we're going to definitely talk about. This is the brightest thing that looks like a star in the sky right now. And so we'll come back to that in a second, but I want to look for some other shapes too. I want to look for, maybe you see something that you might recognize. Oh, wait a second, right there. Let me go back a little bit. There's 3 stars in a row. This is a very famous star pattern called Orion's Belt. Orion was a big hunter, and he's usually a winter constellation, a winter star pattern. You can't see him very well in the spring, but let me show you what he looks like. This is what he would look like if you have a really good imagination. If you connect the dots here and make a picture, he looks like that. Yeah. You need a lot of imagination, I have to admit. It takes a lot of imagination to turn the stars into a giant hunter. But the 3 stars in a row here, that's Orion's Belt, and you'd be able to recognize that pretty well. The only trick is his belt starts setting behind the trees right after it gets dark. So Orion is kind of tough to see right now. So that leaves us back to this really, really bright star. Now, it's not actually a star. I know it looks like a star, but it's suspiciously bright. It's like brighter than all the other stars you see at night. And it doesn't twinkle as much as the stars either. So we get a lot of calls at the observatory, people saying, I saw a UFO in the sky. It's like, no, it's not a UFO. It's not an unidentified flying object. It is very identifiable. In fact, it's not a star, it's a planet. Now, which planet is it? I'll give you some clues. It's the second planet from the sun. It is the hottest planet. It is the planet that can come closest to us, and it starts with the letter V. All right, that's a lot of hints. I think I gave it to you. That is the planet Venus. And so you can see Venus at night. You don't need a telescope or anything. You can see it just with your eyes. It is so unbelievably bright. Now, what we could do with the telescope is we could zoom in. So to your eyes, it looks like an incredibly bright star, but with a telescope, we can zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. And then we see, now wait a second, that doesn't look right. That looks like the moon, doesn't it? That's actually the planet Venus right now. Venus is shaped like a crescent moon right now as it's coming closer to us. And so I always do a second take when I look through the telescope. I think, wait a second, that's not Venus, but it is. Venus looks like a crescent shape right now. And so that's one thing you could see in the night sky for the next couple weeks. Just after dark, you could see Venus so bright. But there's one pattern of stars that I think you might be able to recognize. With Orion down, oh look, there's the moon tonight. So we have almost a full moon tonight, which is kind of fun. That's going to be really bright in the sky, that moon tonight and tomorrow night. And then a full moon is on the 7th. So that's on Thursday where we're going to have our full moon. But I want us to look over here for a group of 7 stars that look like a pretty recognizable shape. Do you see a group of 7 stars up here? They look like, they're called the Big Dipper. You see the Big Dipper? There's the spoon, and then there's the handle. So it looks like a big spoon or a big ladle. There's the spoon, there's the handle. So if you connect some dots, you can maybe kind of picture that. That's at least better than a giant hunter, I'd say. But maybe you can see a big spoon up in the sky, and it's upside down. So it's like the water is running out, making our spring showers. Now, we call this the Big Dipper, but other people around the world call it different things. Some people call it a plow. Some people call it a coffin. Some people call it the drinking gourd. But what most astronomers call it is a big bear. Now, hold on a second. Let me put the bear picture in. Are you ready for this? Yeah, that's a big bear, isn't it? Now, this bear looks a little suspicious. Number one, it's upside down. I don't know. I don't see bears upside down very often. But the Big Dipper is just the rear end and tail of the bear, and then other stars make the feet and the head. But look at this tail. Have you ever seen a bear with a long tail? I certainly have never seen a bear with a long tail like that. That's very strange. And so when people were telling stories about the stars a long, long time ago, they would spin tales about the bear. And so they would sit around the campfire and talk about the big bear in the sky, say, "Behold, the big bear up in the sky." And people would look up in the sky and they'd say, "What are you talking about? It doesn't look like a bear. Bears don't have long tails." And so the storyteller would have to come up with a story very quickly to explain how the bear got its long tail. And so I'm going to share with you the story of how the bear got its long tail here. And I'm going to switch back to my screen here so you can kind of see the whole picture. And so let's see here. I'm back to this picture. I think this is all okay. Can everybody see me okay like this, full screen? So what we're going to do next is I'm going to tell you the story of how the bear got its long tail. This is an old tale, goes back a long, long time ago. And so how do we start most stories? Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a brave and mighty hunter. This hunter had a mission. His village was running out of food, and so he needed to go off down the path to hunt for food. So he got his bow, his arrows, all of his gear together, and he hikes off down the path. And he hikes 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 and he hikes. And he comes to this part of the path that's very dangerous. There's a cliff on one side, a cliff on the other side, and this little narrow path going across it. And as he's inching his way, trying not to fall off the cliff, right in front of him, blocking his entire path, is a humongous mama bear. A mama bear that's laying across the path, taking a nap. Very strange place for a bear to take a nap, I would say. But the hunter looked at the scene. He couldn't go around the bear. He'd fall off the cliff. He couldn't go over the bear's too big. Couldn't go under the bear's too big. And he couldn't go home because he didn't have any food. So he decided the best thing to do would be move the bear himself. Now, that doesn't seem like a good idea, does it? You do not want to move a bear if you find a bear outside. Do not do this. But I will demonstrate what he did to move this bear. Now, you got to realize in the real story, this was a much bigger bear. But I have a bear here with me. Let me get the bear. Hold on. Hold on for 1 second. I got to get the bear. And so what he did was he grabbed the bear. Come here, bear. I'm trying to get this bear here. It's not cooperating very well. So what he did was he grabbed that mama bear by her short, stubby little tail, and with his mighty muscles, he started swinging that bear around over his head, around and around and around and around. And something started happening to that bear as it was swinging around and around and around. Its tail started stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. And finally, he's stretching this bear around over and over and over. And finally, he lets go of the bear. She flies up into the sky like this. Wah! And it flies up so high that it sticks in the sky like this. Hold on. Nope, this way. And it sticks up in the sky like this. And turns into the stars of the big bear. And so that's how the big bear got its long tail. Now, you might be thinking, that doesn't sound like a real story. And that's true. That is not a real story. It was all made up just to explain how those stars got up there in the sky. But people really like this story a lot. They're sitting around the campfire and they're thinking about it. Like, all right, I guess that makes sense. I guess I can understand that's how the mama bear got her big tail. And people like the story so much because there was a sequel. There was part 2. The hunter went on down the path a little bit farther, and he met a baby bear. And this baby bear had lost his mommy somewhere in the woods. And the hunter felt really bad about this. He thought, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to I think I know where your mommy is. I just threw her up in the sky like 10 minutes ago. And so he felt really bad because he couldn't climb up there to bring the mama back down. So what could he do? Throw the baby bear up there to be with his mommy. And so he grabbed that baby bear by his short, stubby little tail like this, and started swinging him around over his head like this, around and around and around and around and around. And the baby bear's tail started stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. And he threw the baby bear up in the sky. Wah! And he stuck with his tail curled up like this, and turned into the stars of what we call the Little Dipper or the Little Bear. I don't know. What do you think? That's a pretty strange story, isn't it? But this is what people would do. They'd sit around the campfire and they'd tell stories about all the stars up in the sky. And this is something you can do with your family too. When you go outside at night and you can see the stars up there in the sky, maybe you can see some pictures yourself. Maybe you see something that you think is like a dog, or maybe it's like your little sister, or maybe it's your aunt or something like that. You can see all things in the sky, and then you can make up your own stories and probably make up better ones than I just did. I mean, I just got a little bear here. I mean, you could probably make up something really good. So try that out next time you're doing some stargazing. Maybe you might have a little bit of an imagination of what's up there in the sky. So the final thing I wanted to do tonight is, thanks for joining me for this too, by the way. I hope you're having a lot of fun with these sky stories. And I've really loved doing this. I'm really happy to be working with the library on this. And while trying to do a lot of stargazing on my own, we're waiting for the observatory to open back up again and have you guys out to see the telescopes. But this is a great month to do some stargazing and get out there. And so I'm going to read a few other things from one of my books. This is my book called Facts from Space. And this is my first book that I wrote. And this has about 1,000 facts in it from around the universe. So you can flip to any page and learn a new fact about stars or the moon or galaxies or planets. And so I'm going to read a few of my favorite facts from space here from the book and see what you think. And since we were talking about Venus earlier, I thought maybe I'd read a little Venus facts, if you will. Let's see. Right. I forgot about this one. Oh, yes. Do you know why you don't want to go visit Venus? Well, Venus is the hottest planet, and there's 3 ways to die on Venus very fast. Number 1, Venus is 900 degrees on the entire planet, 900 degrees Fahrenheit. So that means if you were there, you would melt into a pile of goop. Second way to die on Venus is, the reason why it's so hot is because there's all these atmosphere, this clouds that are pushing down on you. And so the weight of all the atmosphere would smash you. So you're already goop. Now you're smashed goop. And the third thing that could kill you on Venus is when the clouds open up and it starts to rain, it rains sulfuric acid. And so if you're there, you're going to be goop, you're going to be squished goop, and now you're going to be acidy squished goop. And that's why you don't want to go to Venus. Well, Earth seems pretty good compared to all these planets, to tell you the truth. This is the only place, this is one of my other space facts, is Earth is really special because it's the only place where you can walk outside and not die instantly. That's a pretty good plus, don't you think? I would think so. All right, I'm going to read another fact here. Oh, that's right. I'm going to read, oh boy, this fact is about Saturn, and I don't know. This has got a pretty bad joke to it, I would say. So I'm a little nervous about telling you this one because it's a bad. I mean, you're gonna be like, oh, it's a cheesy joke. All right, so Saturn as a whole is less dense than water. That means that if you built a bathtub large enough to hold Saturn and you filled it with water, Saturn would actually float on the water. Now, that's pretty hard to build a bathtub that big. But if you could, and you filled it with water and you put Saturn in it, you know what would happen? It would leave a ring. Oh, man. Yep. Terrible joke. Let's see. I was going to do one more little fact because this is a star that's going to be coming up in the summertime. This is a star fact. I've got lots of them. There's you can learn about Betelgeuse, the star that's up right now. But this is one of my favorite stars that's coming up in the summertime called Altair. And so Altair is the brightest star in the constellation Aquila, the Eagle. And Altair spins so crazy fast. While our sun rotates once every 25 to 26 days, Altair completes one turn every 9 hours. So it spins so fast that it has squished the star, and so it's flattened at the poles, and all of its mass is around the center. So it has this big bulge, and it looks like a piece of M&M's candy instead of a sphere. M&M's. I could go for one of those right now. It sounds pretty good. So if you want, pick up a copy of Facts from Space, and you can learn a lot of these facts from all around the whole universe, and you can check those out. But this has been a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed our trip down our spacey stories. We first read Rise the Moon. Then I showed you a few things to look for in the night sky, like Venus up there, easy to find in the western sky, and then the Big Dipper, which you can transform into a big bear with a long extender tail. And finally, we talked about a few facts from our Facts from Space book. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope that you guys could get outside and do some stargazing at night with your family, because there's some cool stars to look for in the nighttime sky. And the next couple nights, you'll have the big bright moon to be able to look at as well and check out, because whenever I see the moon in the sky, it always makes me feel good. But check out our website, the Cincinnati Observatory website. You can just go there, cincinnatiobservatory.org, and we have a list of all of our things that are coming up. We have a lot of resources that you can use at home at our Space at Home page, and some cool, fun videos that we made for students, parents, and teachers that you can learn about stuff from space. And there's even one extra thing. I wasn't going to do this, but I think I might as well. Is that we even have an activity where you can transform Oreo cookies into phases of the moon, like I showed you in the book. You separate the cookie from the cream, and now you have a full moon and a new moon. And then you can use your teeth to carve out the different shapes in the moon. So there we go. I made a crescent. What do you think? Pretty good? It's not the best crescent, but it definitely tastes good. It's the best tasting crescent. So you can make all sorts of Oreo moon phases there. So check out our website, cincinnatiobservatory.org, for more. But I'm going to eat the rest of this cookie off air. I don't want to be chewing while I'm talking, so I don't think that's probably a good idea. But thank you very much for having me here today. Hope you enjoyed our story time. And I'll be doing another story time next Monday at noon. So you can join me for that, for another spacey story time. And maybe I'll have a new constellation myth to tell you as well. So have a good rest of the evening. And everybody out there, keep looking up.